Okay, I am in the car. It is 5:46 a.m. I'm beginning my drive to work. I am going to be late because I also have to get gas along the way, and I got caught up watching anime over breakfast. But this is me trying to record some good old Universes content in the little free time that I have in my life. So yeah, I'm utilizing this. We're going to see how it goes, see how I feel about the recording. You might never hear this. We'll find out. So this past weekend was the Dallas Regional. Going into it, I had played very little Universes of the standard format. I did an LC down in Virginia where I played Reiner 3. I got a top 4 finish. I lost to Scott DeJournette and his Hedora list in top 4. So I didn't get my invite, but I secured a bye for the regional, which was very nice to have. And that was basically the only 4 rounds of UVS I'd played in months. So no practice going into the event. I knew I was going to play Pony Tsunotori because my team, the Cabal, had gone crazy with the deck in Vegas. They had a list they were very confident in. After the banlist update in the errata to Team Hero 15, the deck definitely got a little bit weaker, but the core of it was still all there. The Hunter's Ally, Genghis Frog, Lethal Slash, all these very powerful, very efficient attacks, lots of card advantage, and based on a deck that I had helped create way back in the AOT1 standard format for Atlanta. So I was familiar with the play patterns. I knew I could play it pretty well. It was just a few minor changes to the foundation lineup, some changes to the sideboard, some new stuff coming out there. But I was pretty comfortable going in with literally 0 reps of the deck. So that's leading up to Dallas. So day 1 is, I guess day 0 is Thursday. I flew in after work. I got in at 8 o'clock Dallas time, found some food, checked into my hotel, went to the lobby where a bunch of people were gaming, found myself at a table with Tim Free, Justin Martin, Kevin Broberg, and myself, and we sat down and played 2 rounds of Hanabi. So Hanabi is a game about fireworks where each player, you're all on a team together, each player has a hand of cards that you, the player, can't see. You're basically facing them the other way, you're only looking at card backs. And on each player's turn, they get to give a clue to one of their teammates about the cards in their hand. And this is where I have to stop and get cash real quick. Yeah, so on your turn, you're either giving a hint to another player about the contents of their hand, and there's specific rules on how you can give a hint, or you are buying your team the opportunity to give a hint by discarding a card, or you are playing a card, and you're trying to, as a team, play these cards in order. There's 4 suits. You have to play them from 1 through 5. There's only so many copies of every suit, number, combination in the deck, and you have until either you run out of cards in the deck, or you mess up, right? If you try to play a card that turned out not to be the next legal play on one of these suit piles, then you lose a life, and that's bad. So you have to be very careful about how you give hints, how you manage the action economy, essentially, of your team. And most importantly, you have to, really understand what your teammates are trying to do with the information that they have. Because everyone can see, 3 other players' hands, so they have a distinct impression of the board state that is, a lot of shared knowledge between players, but also a little bit of, hidden knowledge of trying to figure out, okay, well, why did this person give that other person this clue rather than like tell me something about my hand or play a card that I had hinted for them or something. So to really do well in the game, you have to not only like trust in your teammates, you have to understand all like the game theory going into why, like what decisions should you make on your turn, what is the most efficient for your team, and why did your teammates make the decisions that they did. So you have to really trust your teammates, trust that they're like human beings who are gamers and know what they're doing. So in this table of like professional game designer Tim Free and regional champion Justin Martin and multiple world champion Kevin Broberg and me, who has never top cut a regional, it was a little daunting at times, and I definitely made at least one boneheaded mistake because I didn't put enough trust or understanding in what someone else's turn was doing for the team. And that whole lesson is going to come back later. So, day one of the regional is teams. I team up with Luna, aka Blame Siren, the only other member of the Cabal to be on site at Dallas, and with George Rangel, the reigning world champion. The three of us had teamed up in the Buffalo regional last year and gone undefeated, so we decided to run it back. I played Marvin Emery's Deku 7 list, which is trying to use Evoking the Wielders, which is the like +2/+4 foundation, alongside a bunch of ways to either blink it or like rebuild it or ready it or tutor it into play, so you can try to get all these free stats on a full like 4 or 5 attack string. And then George played Armored All Might, and Luna played Pony, which is why I didn't play Pony. So most of my games were okay. I, again, had 0 reps with this deck, and it was a little more complicated than the Pony deck. I wasn't used to that style of gameplay, so I definitely wasn't playing my best. But for the first 2 rounds, my match didn't matter. I was always the last person to finish, because I was playing the most controlling of the decks on our team. The first round, I think both my teammates won their matches before I finished like game 2. The second round, both my teammates lost their matches while I was in game 2 or 3. Round 3, I played on stream. I was selected as the feature match. It was me versus Jet Kaufman, who is also who inspired me to try recording this content in my car. He was playing Rodan. He would eventually take this Rodan list to top 8 the regional the next day. Very, very good player. I always learn a ton playing against him and just like talking to him about the game. And he just wiped the floor with me. It was like basically a control matchup, but I needed to be the aggro player because I was not going to be as controlling in the late game. And I just like couldn't put anything together against him. I was not playing well. I was like walking into heat tackle responses to cancel my character ability into like clearing the tension move with the tension ability. So all this really inefficient gameplay for me. And that was the first time I had a in-person feature match on a Universus stream, so that was cool. I did go back and watch that commentary like the Tuesday after I got home, and yeah, the commentators were kind of like ragging on me the whole time, and it was very funny, but it also was like, man, maybe I should have played a deck I knew how to play if I was going to get on camera. So after that round, I think we finished it out. I want to say we ended up like 3-2 in teams or something. We did fine, but not enough to top 8 and get an uncut sheet or whatever. And then that night, I went out to dinner with a bunch of the CWC and final round guys and Broberg and Luna. We went to like a fancy burger place, and it was great. We had a good time. So then the next day was day 1 of the main event. So I woke up, I ran out to Starbucks, I got a little bagel. I like to have a bit of a lighter breakfast on main event days, just so like I can get enough to power through to the lunch break, and then go from there. So I did use that bye, so I got to skip round 1, and then round 2, I get paired into another pony player. So it's like very close to the exact mirror match. His sideboard was a little bit different than mine. Our main decks were probably like 2 cards apart. Before the event, I did cut the 4th copy of Team Hero from the list that was given to me. Just because of the errata, it did feel a little bit worse to have than multiples. I cut that for 1 main deck copy of Substitute Member, which definitely came up. It's a solid card to just have as a 1-off in your main deck. So I'm playing the mirror. He wins the die roll, and that mirror match is like the least thinking I have to do in universes, because it's just 2 ponies drawing cards and hoping they don't check the 2 and throwing attacks at each other. So he wins game 1 because it's on play. He just like straight up turn 2s me. Game 2, I think I either turn 2 or turn 3 him, and then game 3 he turn 2 or turn 3s me. And it's just like not very many decisions were made. We just kind of played the hands that were dealt to us, and whoever went first won. Yeah. So 1-1. I go into round 3. I get paired against, I believe his name is Carl. He's playing Hedora, and he sees me, and I think the first thing he says to me is like, "Oh, are you Disaster Dan's friend?" And I said, "No, Disaster Dan is my friend." So he had played against Dan, I want to say the previous regional, or maybe he's like roughly local to Dan, but he had some experience into the pony matchup with this list. And Hedora it's definitely a very sideboard dependent matchup. I lost game 1 pretty quickly. I believe he did win the die roll. You just only have so much health against Hedora, and you can't quite turn to them because of the Hedora response to stuff your card pool. You need a few extra resources in play. So he was just able to like get that first poke turn in to get me, you know, a third of the way through my health, even though I can block, and then finish me off with a string of throws like he's wont to do. But then games 2 and 3, I got to board in a 4th copy of Armor-Clad Faith, and then 2 copies of Cardboard Crusaders. So I was setting up to be able to seal his throws or take away the keywords, and actually block them, and give myself that more time to build up to like 10 foundations. And once I'm able to do that, I can power through that initial defense without too much trouble, and run over the rest of his health total, which is basically what I did games 2 and 3. So I win that match, and I am 2-1. Round 4, I get paired into reigning world champion George Rangel, a good friend of mine. He is also on pony. We are playing again, not quite like the exact mirror, but extremely close. He wins the die roll. Game 1, he just like straight up turn 2s me, nothing I can do. Game 2, I check a 2 on my build turn going first, so I build 2 pass, and then there's just no getting back from that, and he murders me on turn 3. So again, it was just like, I wasn't making a lot of decisions. It's a mirror match. I lost the die roll, and I checked a 2 at a bad time. Not to diminish George's skill as a player, but that's just how those mirror matches go. The next round, this is round 5, I play against Chris Smith, Brody one on all the content areas. One of my favorite guys to play against, really pleasant opponent. He was on Zeke 1, the final round list that was going around. I think 1 copy got into top 8 with Zach Bardry, I want to say, could be wrong. So Chris is playing Zeke. I don't remember who wins the die roll. I think it might have been me. And that matchup is very much like, he's going to play backups, and because I get to play so many attacks, I can kill all of his backups every turn, essentially, and then, like, build 2 or 3 foundations, and just stay ahead on resources constantly. So he never really has an opening to actually get attacks through. And then I can just have, like, 10 foundations into his 5 or whatever, and easily burn through his defenses with a pretty average pony hand. He does take game 2 on me when he's on the play. I don't remember exactly why. I think he was able to, like, build 3 backups turn 1, and then, since I couldn't attack him turn 1, obviously, he was able to flip and then murder me. That is the thing with that matchup. Like, you can't let them flip, they will kill you. But because I had taken the other games, I did win that match without too much trouble. Round 6, I play against Lane Scarborough. I definitely am not pronouncing his last name correctly now that I think about it, but playing against Lane, he's a well-known figure in the marketplace Discord. I've talked to him a bunch. He is playing, you guessed it, Pony Tsunotori. I win the die roll this time, and again, like, that's the mirror match. I won the die roll, I won the match. I think I 2-1'd him. I think it was just whoever went first took the game, and then because I won the die roll, I won the match. Round 7, I played against Shannon from... I'm trying to remember her team name. I always associate her with Ezra, the guy who plays Krista in every event ever. I know they're on a team together. I've played against Shannon before. She's also a very nice opponent. She was playing, that's right, Pony Tsunotori. At this point, it's worth saying there were 109 people in the tournament. 8 people, myself included, were playing Pony, and I played 4 mirror matches. So I did the math on that the other day, just, like, assuming 50-50 matchups everywhere, and, like, I could get paired against anyone at any given time, which isn't exactly true, but close enough for modeling purposes. There's, like, a 0.02% chance of facing that many mirror matches with so few copies in the field. It was truly insane how many I ran into. So Shannon wins the roll. This was the one instance where whoever won the die roll did not win the match. She had some of the worst variants I've seen. I think she checked 2 lethal slashes in game 1 during her attack string. So I was able to survive and just backswing her pretty easily. And then game 2, I was going first. No, she was going first because she had lost. But she checked a 2 on her turn 1 build. So she, like, built 2 past, and then I just murdered her. So, again, like, not many decisions. It wasn't necessarily the die roll that won. It was just who checked more lethal slashes. But just another, like, variance aspect of that matchup. And then round 8. I am actually pulling into work now, so I will talk about round 8 on my drive home, and then talk about the rest of my tournament. So far, I think this is going okay. We'll see. Yeah, see you in 8 hours for me, 2 seconds for you. Alright, so I've now worked a full day. I played Codenames during lunch. My teammates did select the death word. I think that was his fault, not mine. Anyway, it's round 8. Universes, Dallas, Regional, Season 3. I'm playing Pony. I get paired into Godzilla Titan of Terror. This is post-errata. He only gets to first form his thing out of the discard pile. He does have to make the check. It is not as broken as it used to be. He's basically a 7-hander aggro character that has, you know, like a slightly weaker first turn, but then more selection late game, blah, blah, blah. So he wins the die roll. Game 1, I kind of just get stomped. I don't think I don't think I misplayed or anything. I think it was just 2 aggro decks, and he won the roll. And then game 2 is where I had my major misplay that ended up costing me my potential invite to Worlds. Spoilers. I am on the play. My turn 2 is my attacking turn. I get this weird hand of Genghis Frog, Foundation, and then all 4 of my lethal slashes. So I don't really want to go lethal slash because I want to get full value. That first one isn't going to clear because it's not second card played. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to play my frog, then play a bunch of lethal slashes with the hope of finding Queen of the Monsters in the middle of that string to then build down the frog and get that damage up to try to present a kill. And that plan kind of works out. I think it takes me either 2 or 3 lethal slashes after I play the frog, but I do find the Queen of the Monsters. I do play it. I check a lot of 5s in that string, but not quite enough to get there. I end up putting my opponent at 7 or 9, single digits, and then I have to pass with 2 foundations up and a electric moth and battle R release. Right, 2 attacks, 2 foundations. It wasn't quite enough where checking a 5 was going to kill him. I forget if I was just deep in my card pool at that point or what, but I have to pass back with that. So he goes first form, destructive heat right out of the discard pile, flip something of mine, makes his power tokens. I decide to just take the 3 damage, so I'm down to 19. And then he plays a foundation. He plays Father's Sin, the one that mills 4 and then maybe draws a card. He mills 4, he hits the 2 attacks, so he's allowed to draw a card. And then he plays from hand another destructive heat ray. And this is where I should have been paying more attention. Because I'm thinking okay, so the DHR, he's not putting damage onto this one for some reason. I could block if I spend all of my pony counters to change zone and reduce speed. And I think I had it on if I check a 3, I didn't need to check a 5 there. But I could have fully blocked if I throw away one of the attacks in my hand and spend all my counters. But I think, no, if he's really going to play another attack here, whatever it's going to be, I'm sure I can spend the same amount of resources to block it. So he hits me, he readies the foundation, and then he plays the Godzilla attack that's +1 speed for all of the power tokens you have in play. And that is just fast enough that I cannot block it, even if I checked a 5 on my block and reduce the speed and everything. And it is lethal by 1 damage. So if I had blocked the DHR, then first of all, he would not have readied the foundation, so I think he couldn't have passed the check to play the next attack. But also, he would have been 1 short on damage to actually kill me with it. So I was supposed to block the DHR. And what I should realize is, okay, it's a weird play to go attack, foundation, attack. So whatever card he drew off that Father's Sin changed his game plan to where he didn't have a lethal line, and then suddenly he did. So he told me after he drew the Crushing Impact, that big attack, off of the Father's Sin, and that's what let him go for the kill that turn. Because he knew that, I had a frog in play on Pony, he was at 7 life, he was going to die if he passed the turn. So he went for it, and he found the line, and I didn't play around it, and he got there. And the lesson I'm supposed to learn here is the same lesson that I learned in Hanabi 2 nights prior, that my opponent is a human being. He has the game theory knowledge and the context and the hidden information. He's going to make a decision to try to win the game. He's not just out here pressing buttons, especially not when you're late in a regional and playing for a top 16 finish, right? He had agency and his plans. He knew what he was doing. He knew what I was capable of because he was a good Universes player. And I just sat there and let him do it. So that's how my event ended. I ended up 5-3, which was good enough for 31st place. At the time, we didn't really have a way of knowing if that was going to be good enough for an invite. It wasn't until like halfway through the week after the regional that Nick Reagan in the Discords did the background research and like did the math and pulled all the data from the LCs and stuff and figured out how far down that pass down went. And I think I was like 2 slots away. It went down to like 28th. Person 28th got an invite. And then it's like 29 had theirs, 30th didn't, and then I didn't. So 2 places away. If I had won or drawn that final match, I would have been locked. But I didn't, so I lost. And I don't have it. And that's okay. It just means that I am forced to play more Universes, which is ultimately not a bad thing. I have an LC I get to go to next month down in Virginia, and I just have to go win that, I guess. Or, worst case scenario, I play in the LCQ day 0 or day 1 of Worlds in November, and that'll be fine too. So, after the main event, I think it ended too late for me to really go out for dinner, but I had leftovers for my lunch, so I hung out in the lobby, and I got to have a good conversation with Barlow Guess, who is an amazing player. He's a really good person to talk to, and then his new fiancée, Molly, who had started the game recently and did okay at the tournament as well. She was there playing. We had a great little talk, and I had dinner, and then I think I pretty much just went right to bed. Next day, Sunday, was just side events for me. So I play Hero 2. I brought Pony again. I took out some cards to make room for the broken My Hero cards that rotated. So she gets another foundation that when you discard it, you get to draw a card. So you get to play 12 of that effect now instead of 8, which is crazy. And then I got New Training Method, which is... if you've never played with New Training Method, just like find a format where it's legal and put it in a deck, and it's the best feeling you'll ever have. It just makes your turn 1 builds like so good, and then it just draws a card later in the match. And in Pony specifically, so the text is like, you respond after you check a foundation, you flip and commit your New Training method, you pick up the foundation you checked. Pony's playing 8 foundations that draw a card when she discards them. So now, like, you check one of those, pick it up, you're drawing a card. It's almost like the New Training Method ends up worth, like, 3 cards or something in the end. It's crazy. Then I put in a couple of the good zero diffs. I think it was, like, 2 of the +1 mid-block zero diff, enhance flip the foundation, get a damage. And then 4 copies of the +1 high block zero diff. That's, like... if they stun you, you flip this to build a card off the top. And that one is just like the most efficient stun hate they've ever printed. It's crazy. So, Broken Pony deck. I played 3 rounds of the Hero 2 side event. I won all 3 of them. I played against Calvin Tahan and his very cool all-for-one deck, which was using Electric Jolts to tutor from discard to momentum to send me out, and the minus tier check thing from the momentum that he has in the Precon deck, Black Abyss for the Wing Condition. It was a very, very cool deck. I won in 3 tight games. The last moment was like, I was on my last attack, it was a Hunter's Ally. I knew in his momentum he had highs and lows, and he didn't use his character to play from momentum next. So I was pretty sure he had a high in hand, he had 2 cards in hand. So I zone changed to a mid, because it was lethal on half, just taking the gamble that, like, okay, one of those cards in hand is definitely a high. If the other one is mid, GG. But if I zone change to low, I know when it was face down, momentum is low, so he just commits character to do that. So I zone change to mid, I get the call right, hit him for half damage, which is enough, take that match. I played against an Osui 1, which was... It was a fun match. It was a little bit of like the two ships passing in the night. He had a bunch of rough checks going into his long ASWI strings, so I was just able to take... I think I 2-0'd him. Might have been 2-1, but it was just like an aggro matchup. There wasn't a lot of decision-making going on. And then... I'm trying to remember what my other round was. I know I won it. Whatever. So I'm 3-0 in Hero 2. I decided to drop Hero 2 at 3-0 to go play Retro because Retro's sweet. I'm playing the Joker. I just revamped my Joker Retro list from the last time I played it to be a little bit better at pivoting into like killing with damage rather than killing with mill as the main condition. So I'm up to 4 of the sweeping daggers, and then I have 4 of the tension attack that like mills and then target removes. But I'm also playing some of the attacks from Jet Jaguar's kit that let you put cards from your discard pile back into your deck, so you can like stack the bottom of your deck and also be better at not dying to mill yourself by accident. So I played against a Dijonette player who was a little new to the deck. I think they were borrowing the deck from someone. It was my first time playing against Dijonette, so like I was kind of learning the matchup, but they just weren't really ready for the Joker control pile, so I milled him out after a very long game 1 and then a much shorter game 2. And then I played against Space Cabby from the Discord, very great opponent. He was on Felicia 1, so he was playing like hyper aggro face roll stuff, and I just landed a few telekinetic masteries so he couldn't actually stick any stat changes, and I'm just sitting on there like dimension spheres and capes, so I'm just hyper defense. He basically rolls through his whole deck trying to kill me, and then it's just very easy to mill out from there because I'm just moving as we go. I think he was playing a tight 60, so yep. And then round 3 I played against George Zhang on Kurama, which I almost lost game 1. He had main deck bangs to seal my character, and when you seal Joker, like turning off the mill doesn't matter that much, I'll just do it later, but turning off the ability to ready my character is brutal because I'm really relying on the 2 foundations that let me commit character to discard 2, draw 2, to keep my hand up to keep blocking things. And when I can't do that, I suddenly have no way to draw cards. So he was able to bang me, but then didn't have quite enough offense power to kill me that turn. So he put like 15 cards in my card pool or something, and got me pretty low, but couldn't quite finish it off. And then from there, I realized that since he's playing this like reversal deck, if I ever attack him, I will just die to a reversal. So I just don't attack for the rest of the game. And eventually, we have like several turns of just play one pass. Eventually, he tries to go for it again. He has the bang to seal me. I have the revoke to cancel the bang. And because we had taken so many turns just passing back and forth, it didn't take much for me to just mill him out. I had a billion foundations, enough interaction to seal his deadlock enhances on his Godzilla versus Violantes. So I was able to just barely win that game 1. Game 2, I boarded out like 5 attacks and boarded in like 5 non-attacks because I just never wanted to play an attack into him, and I don't think I did. I just didn't play attacks. I built every single turn forever, kept up all these cancels, all these Taguro brothers for his deadlock stuff, revokes for his bangs, all these things, and eventually he had to play into me, and I just had insane defense, and I was able to mill him out whenever he tried to go for it, so took that match as well. So I'm at 3-0. Round 4, I'm paired into Kevin Broberg, who is borrowing my Stone Man deck, because of course I brought 2 Prison Retro decks to the regional. We get to intentionally draw, because we're both locked at that point. We play one game for fun, which is a really weird matchup, the Joker into Stone Man, because like attacking him doesn't do anything, but also I'm not safe to go into Deadlock because he eventually gets to give all his stuff Deadlock Stun 3. I don't have a way to turn off his character. So we have this, like, standoff where I'm like, okay, I'll build to 10 here, and then I'll try to build to, like, 14 the next turn and try to get past the Stun 3 of it all. And he manages to present this long string that ends in a multiple move off of Hurricane Upper. It's like, here's going to be 3 Hurricane Uppers for 5 each, you're at 12. And I'm just, like, spending these enhanced steps, cycling through my deck with Mushroom Experimentation, trying to draw a 6 check so I can discard it to the second ability on Mushroom Experimentation, which says, like, discard a 6 check, reduces attack's damage to 1. And I drew, like, 14 cards, never find my 6 check to discard, or on the last attack it's going to kill me. I'm like, man, there's nothing I can do. I go to pick up my cards, and Jacob Johnson walks by. He's been standing there for like 20 seconds, and he says, like, hey, isn't that like 2 speed? Just block it. And I look at my hand, and I have +2 mid block, and I'm like, oh, yeah, block it, full block, check a 5, we're good. I win. Cool. Which is very funny in the moment. If that was a real game, that would have been, like, very uncool of him to do. And I don't think he realized at the time that it wasn't a real game, so he felt a little bad about that. But it was just very funny in the moment that I was so focused on damage reduction, I forgot that he could just block. So anyway, that's round 4. Round 5, I get paired into Elijah Wakeman, a.k.a. DeQuavius Bingleton, a.k.a. Lil Bro of Let's Talk UVS. He is 4-0 at this point, so we're both locked for top 8. We get to take the draw. He ends up Swiss champ, and I end up, I was like 3rd or 4th place. I want to say 4th place. But yeah, so I cashed that. I get my travel voucher. I get an uncut sheet. It was a great, like, bounce back moment for me to just all of day 2 not drop a match, like, between 2 events. That felt very good. Kind of reinvigorated my confidence in my gameplay. And then I grabbed some guys and we went out to barbecue because I hadn't had a chance to have Texas barbecue that trip, and you got to do that. And then we came back to the hotel. Some people were hanging out in the lobby, and I met up with Jordan Lemons from CWC, and he's playing Sungjin Woo into Luna made a deck for Reina, the new character coming out in Tekken, which is currently her, like, obsession of that character. So she's been, like, testing this deck all weekend, so they're matching to each other. And I sit down, I'm like, hey, Sungjin Woo, that's my guy. Let's, like, go through some games. And he just, like, hands me the deck, lets me play it. And then we get into the situation where it's like me and Jordan are sitting on one side of a couch, and Luna and Paul and Jet and Dean are all on the other side of this couch, just like 4-headed giant playing this Reina deck into me and Jordan. And it's an absolute blast because, like, when that many very good players are all trying to pilot the same deck at the same time, they all have their own kind of play styles of, like, what they're going to prioritize, what they're going to take risks. So they're just yelling at each other constantly. And me and Jordan, Sungjin Woo experts, are sitting here just on defense, like, yeah, we got this. Easy. And it was a lot of fun. So I talked to Jordan for a long time after that about, like, where the Sungjin Woo deck is going, because that's what I played at Worlds last year. It's one of my favorite decks in the format. And it was really bad under the Titan of Terror, Reiner 3 meta, but then both those characters got hit with erratas. So me and Jordan have been brewing up the Sungjin Woo deck like every day after this past regional, and just trying to see if it's good enough, and it's really, like, made me excited to play more of the game. So again, I have an LC in about a month. I'm going to be bringing Sungjin Woo. We're gonna grind out for that invite, and then I will see everyone in Worlds. Hopefully I will get to go straight to day 2, and I'm going to win. So, that is my Dallas recap. Thank you, everyone, for listening while I drive home from work. Big shout-outs to, really the whole community. but just especially all the people who hung out with me that weekend. So big shout outs to Luna and Broberg and Jet and Dean and Paul and Jordan, and there's a lot of names. Everyone who I mentioned at any point in this recording, shout outs to them because they're cool. Alright, until next time, peace out. This is still recording because I'm driving a car. So, if you're listening to this at this point, I don't know, go watch The Odyssey. I think it was really cool. I just watched it.